Welcome back, everyone! The Philippines is known for its beautiful beaches and friendly people. But did you know that they also have a unique way of handling their dead? That's right. In some parts of the Philippines, coffins are literally dangling on cliffsides, and today we're gonna find out why. And if you would be buried here, watch till the end because there's one thing you should never do in this town, or else your loved ones will have to disinter your corpse from its grave. Don't miss this one. Known locally as the hanging coffins of the Sagada, this odd tradition has been practiced for centuries in the remote mountain province of Sagada. So what's behind this unusual custom? Well, the answer lies in the history of the place itself. Sagada is a small town located in the northern part of the Philippines. It's surrounded by lush green rice terraces, towering limestone formations, and deep ravines. For centuries, the indigenous people of Sagada have made their homes along the cliffsides of these ravines, carving their houses out of the rock or building them overhanging balconies. This has made the town feel like it's straight out of a fantasy novel. But living in such close proximity to the elements comes with its challenges. One of the biggest threats to the people of Sagada is the annual flooding that occurs during the rainy season. When the rains come, the river levels rise and can cause devastating floods, washing away entire villages and leaving people homeless. In order to protect themselves from these natural disasters, the people of Sagada developed a unique way of constructing their homes. Instead of building their houses on the ground, they built them on stilts or hanging balconies attached to the cliffsides. This way, when the river flooded, the water couldn't reach their homes. Unfortunately, this type of construction didn't just apply to their homes, it also applied to their cemeteries. The people of Sagada believed that burying their dead in traditional graves was too risky. The heavy rains could wash away the graves and expose the coffins. So instead, they began to hang the coffins on the cliffsides above the flood level. This way, even if the river flooded, the coffins would be safe and sound. This practice dates back hundreds of years, and there are still over 2,000 hanging coffins scattered around the cliffs. Each coffin is meticulously carved by hand and decorated with intricate designs. Some coffins are made of wood, while others are made of stone. The wooden coffins are typically used for the wealthy, while the stone coffins are reserved for the poor. Hanging coffins aren't just found in Sagada, but also in other parts of the Philippines. However, the coffins in Sagada are the most famous because they've been around the longest. They're also the most accessible to tourists. Now, let's talk about the materials used to build these hanging coffins. As I mentioned earlier, both wood and stone were commonly used. Wood was preferred for its flexibility and ease of carving. The local trees known as narrow or apitong were used for the coffins because they were strong enough to withstand the weight of the body and the elements. The wood was carefully selected and the coffins were designed with ventilation holes to allow for air circulation and prevent the buildup of moisture for the stone coffins. The rocks were quarried from nearby cliffs and then shaped into coffins using primitive tools. This process was more laborious and time-consuming, but the result was a sturdy and long-lasting coffin that could withstand the test of time. These stone coffins are often found in remote areas that are difficult to access, so they're less likely to be disturbed. Another interesting aspect of the hanging coffins is the location in which they're placed. Many of the coffins are hung at an angle facing the rice terraces or the mountains. This is done to ensure that the deceased person's remains can continue to nourish the land and provide fertility. The orientation of the coffin is also believed to help guide the soul of the deceased person on their journey to the afterlife. One of the most important aspects of the hanging coffin tradition is the ceremony surrounding their construction and placement. The entire process is a communal effort involving the family, friends, and members of the community. When someone passes away, the body is washed and prepared for burial according to traditional customs. A coffin is then constructed and the body is placed inside. The coffin is then raised and lowered into place using a pulley system attached to the cliffside. The entire process is accompanied by prayers, rituals, and music. Now let's talk about the maintenance of these hanging coffins. Because the coffins are exposed to the elements, they require regular maintenance to ensure that they remain sturdy and secure. The wooden coffins are repainted and the stone coffins are cleaned and repaired as needed. This is not only to preserve the coffins, but also to pay respects to the deceased person. In recent years, the hanging coffins have become a popular tourist attraction. Visitors from all over the world come to Sagada to witness this unique tradition and learn about the culture of the indigenous people. The tourism industry has brought some much-needed revenue to the town, but it has also created challenges. The influx of tourists has led to overcrowding and environmental degradation. The local government is working hard to balance tourism with the preservation of cultural and environmental resources. Now let's talk about the controversy surrounding the hanging coffins. Some people believe that the practice is inhumane and disrespectful to the dead. They argue that the coffins are often overcrowded and the bodies are exposed to the elements, which can cause them to decompose more quickly. Others argue that the practice is a necessary part of the indigenous people's culture and should be respected. So would I be buried in a hanging coffin? Well, that's a tough one. On one hand, I'm fascinated by the history and culture behind the hanging coffins. I think it would be a unique and memorable way to be laid to rest. On the other hand, I'm not sure if I could actually commit to being buried in such a precarious position. I mean, what if the coffin falls or the ropes break? But hey, who knows, maybe I'll change my mind when the time comes. If you're interested in visiting the hanging coffins of the Philippines, I highly recommend checking them out. It's truly a one-of-a-kind experience that you won't forget. Just be sure to respect the culture and customs of the indigenous people. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed learning about the unique way that the Philippines handles their dead. And don't forget to show your support. Until next time.